Good morning, brothers and sisters. Today is Monday, July 6th. It is 11:28 a.m. We're going to start off with a sound saying, and then I have a couple of words for you that we found in our reading that I'd like to share with you. Let's start off with Galatians 6:9, and it says, "And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not." Don't be weary in well-doing. Keep doing good. No matter how long it takes, just don't faint. Trust and believe that God has heard your prayers, and in His time, your prayers will come to pass. In His time, not yours, in His time, your prayers will come to pass. So let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. Okay? The back of it is coming from Matthew 5, verse 6, and it says, "Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled." If righteousness is that which you have hunger for, you will receive it. Okay, blessed are those which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. As the word says, you will be filled. Okay? Alright, so we have revered. What does that mean? It means deprived of a close relationship or friendship through the death of a loved one. So you will revere them. Kind, Kine, is another word for a mature female bovine animal, such as a cow, an elephant, a whale. Okay? Fat-fleshed. Remember, the king had a dream, and some of the beasts were fat-fleshed, which means they were lean, they were firm, they were fed, they were plenteous, they were rank, they were fatty. Okay? Grievous, formal, of something bad, very severe or serious. His death was a grievous moment in time. Okay? Discreet, careful, and circumspect in one's speech or action, especially in order to avoid offense. So, discreet is a very important quality for a leader to have, and as you will see in this particular chapter, the king will be looking for someone who has these particular characteristics, and discretion is a very good characteristic of any leader that is wise and has understanding. Okay? Careful and circumspect in one's speech, action, especially in order to avoid offense. Spirit of God. The Spirit of God has 7 gifts. Okay? This is why He is called our helper. It is wisdom, understanding, counsel. Wisdom, understanding, counsel, fortitude, knowledge, piety, and fear of the Lord. Those are the characteristics of the Spirit of God. Okay? Wisdom, understanding, counsel, fortitude, knowledge, piety, and fear of the Lord. Now God Himself has characteristics also, and His are different than ours. He has 3 characteristics. And one of them is called omnipotent. Omnipotent, meaning having unlimited power, able to do anything, all powerful, supreme, totalitarian, almighty, preeminent, unconquerable, invincible. These are all part of the word omnipotent. Okay? He is an omnipotent God. Those are one of his characteristics. He is an all-powerful God. He is capable of doing anything he pleases at any time with his creation. Okay? He is an all-powerful, almighty, invincible, preeminent, unconquerable God. Omniscience. What does that mean? He knows everything. And knows everything about you. Knows you before you were born. Knew you before your parents saw you out of the womb. Okay? So he knows, he's knowing everything. He's an all-knowing God. All-wise, all-seeing. Infinite awareness, understanding. There is nothing that this God is not able to see. No matter where you are, you could be doing it in the dark. He already is aware of what you are doing in the dark. There is nowhere on this earth that you can hide from him, for he will know where you are at all times. Okay? He knows your footsteps. He knows your stops. He knows your strength. He knows your weaknesses. He knows you better than you know yourself. Okay? Omnipresence. He's widely and consistently encountered. You can't hide. You can't avoid him. Okay? His common or widespread, the omnipresent threat of natural disasters. Those are all in his power. Of God, present everywhere at the same time. There could be things going on in one continent and something else going on in another continent. Something could be going on in the Amazon. Wherever it's happening, he is able to see it all at the same time. I like to smile when I speak about my God because I like having somebody with such power in front of me. Okay? Covering me and my family. Okay? No matter what's going on, you can put it down in a prayer on your knees and the Lord will hear thee and he will do that which he does when he does it. When he's ready, it will be done. Okay? Let me see. He's omnipresent. He is present everywhere. God is omnipresent in a way that he is able to interact with his creation however he chooses, and it's the very essence of his creation. Those are the words we have for you today. Let's finish up this story of Joseph. So as you can see, Joseph thought that which was happening to him was brought him great grief and toil, but God had a plan in his life, and in order for him to fulfill that plan, he had to start at the beginning, and at the beginning was the pit. Okay, that was the beginning of God's plan in his life, and from that pit, 13 years later, this man becomes the second man in command in the land of Egypt. Okay? Not only that, no matter where Joseph is placed, God places favor over him. Okay? Whether he's in the house of Potiphar, whether he is in the prison, he is always placed in an authoritarian position, in a position of power, in a position of management, in a position of leadership. No matter where he was, those were his title. So he ultimately came out of prison to be the second man in command during the 7 years of grace and 7 years of famine. Okay, he does a magnificent job in being able to store enough food to cover not just Egypt, but for those that came far away from Egypt, such as his father and brothers who came from Canaan. Okay, and other people were coming from other areas near Egypt to buy food. Okay, so he was a very wise man. He began as a very arrogant young boy, but he grew up to be a very wise man, and God used him mightily indeed. Okay, so it's a very powerful story. It's full of all kinds of emotions. There's deception, there's hatred, there's bewilderment, and then towards the end there's astonishment, there's fear. At one point they're terrified of this man because they don't know who he is, and then when he does tell them who he is, they go from fear to complete astonishment. All the way home, that last trip was a trip that they could never forget. And then when they get in front of their father and tell their father that the man in Egypt that they've been dealing with is his son Joseph. So of course Papa isn't going to believe this right away, but the third trip coming back from Egypt was a phenomenal one indeed. Let's continue the story. Okay, so we stopped at 25, but I'm going to go ahead on and, we stopped at 30, but I'm going to go ahead and start from 25 and take it on to 57. Let's begin. And Joseph said unto Pharaoh, the dream of Pharaoh is one. God has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. 27. The 7 good kine are 7 years, and 7 good years are 7 years. The dream is one. Okay. 27. And the 7 then an ill-favored kine that came up after them are 7 years, and the 7 empty ears blasted with the east wind shall be 7 years of famine. Okay, 28. This is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh. What God is about to do, he showeth unto Pharaoh. He also shows it unto his servants on earth, whether it's in the biblical time or today. Okay? 28. This is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh. What God is about to do, he showeth unto Pharaoh. 29. Behold, there came 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt. And I mean, it was plenteous. It was plenteous. It was, I can't say that enough to let you know how massive amounts of food God gave these people in the 7 good years. Okay, and there shall arise after them 7 years of famine, and that famine was indeed grievous. Okay, and all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and the famine shall consume the land. So the years of plenty should be a distant memory during the time of famine. Now, we have not had this time of famine in this land, but we're working on it. Okay, and it will not be the same as when Joseph was the leader, because these leaders today do not operate with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. None at all. None. Okay, so starvation will be something that many will experience, and death will become. Did you hear me? Because the leaders of today lack these characteristics, so therefore they will not be able to accomplish the same task. Okay, 31, and the plenty shall not be known in the land by reason of the famine following, for it shall be very grievous. Okay, 32, and for that the dream was doubled into Pharaoh twice. It is because the thing is established by God, and God will surely bring it to pass. Did I tell you he is an all-knowing, all-powerful God, and he can do anything he pleases at any time with his creation. Okay, 33 to 40. I'll read it straight away because it's all painful witnessing. And it says 33, and now therefore let Pharaoh take out a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt. 34, let Pharaoh do this, and this is the advice that Joseph is giving to Pharaoh after he interprets his dream. He is telling him the kind of individual that he needs to select in order to be able to get through the 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine. Okay, let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land, and take up the 5th part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years. Okay, so they're going to take up a good portion of the plenteous years and store them for the years of famine. 35, and let us gather all the fruit of those good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities. 36, and that food shall be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through the famine. 37, and the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of all his servants. So this what he was saying was good in the ears of the Pharaoh, and in the ears of those that were nearby listening to him counsel his king. Okay, 38, and the Pharaoh said unto his servants, can we find such a man, can we find such a one as this, a man in whom the Spirit of God is? First qualification. Did you notice that? That was the first qualification. Even the Pharaoh thought that that was an important qualification. Let me repeat that. And the Pharaoh said unto his servants, can we find such a one as this, a man in whom the Spirit of God is? 39. And the Pharaoh said unto Joseph, for as much as God has shown thee all this, there is none so discreet and wise as thou art. Because God has given you the gift to be able to interpret this, you are the wisest man right now that could handle this task. Okay? And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, for as much as God has shown thee all this, there is none so discreet and wise as thou. 40. That thou should be over my house, and according unto thy word shall all my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than thou. So he begins to make that transformation and make that man standing before him, his interpreter, the second man in command beside himself. The only thing that he could not have is his throne and, of course, his wife. Okay, 41 to 44 we will read because it is silver for history. And the Pharaoh said unto Joseph, see, I have set thee over all the land of Egypt. 42, and Pharaoh took off his ring. Second thing he did, from his hand, and put it upon Joseph's hand, and arrayed him in vestures of the fine linen, and put a gold chain around his neck. 43, and he made him ride in the second chariot which he had, and they cried before him and bowed their knees, and he made him ruler over all the land of Egypt. 44. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without thee shall no man lift up his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. And he meant that literally. 45, yellow for family. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zephaniah, and he gave him a wife, Asinai, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On. And Joseph went out over all the land of Egypt. 46 to 49. Again, history. And Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from the presence of the Pharaoh and went throughout all the land of Egypt. 47. And in the 7 plenteous years, the earth brought forth by handful. As I said, the 7 plenteous years was indeed plenteous. Okay. 48. And he gathered up all the food of the 7 years which were in the land of Egypt, and laid up the food in the cities, and the food of the field which was round about every city laid he up in the same. 49. And Joseph gathered corn as the sands of the sea. That's a lot of corn. Okay? It was as much corn as the sand of the seas of our Father. And you know, you can't count each individual grain of sand. So just imagine corn being as much as the sand on the seas. That's a lot of corn. Okay? Very much until he left numbering. He stopped numbering, for it was without number. Okay? 50, 51, and 52 is family. And unto Joseph was born 2 sons before the years of famine came, which Sinai, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On, bare unto him. 51. And Joseph called the name of the first Manasseh, for God, said he, has made me forget all my toils and all my father's house. 52. And the name of the second, he, Ephraim, for God has caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. That man was wise indeed. And in 13 years, he grew up from an arrogant boy to a humble man, humble, wise man. Okay? 53 and 54 are go for prophecy. And the 7 years of plenteous that were in the land of Egypt were ended. 54. And the 7 years of dearth began to come according as Joseph has said, and the dearth was in all lands, but in all the land of Egypt was bread. Okay, so it was all over. Famine was everywhere, all over the earth, except for Egypt. Okay, 55. And when all the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. And Pharaoh said unto all the Egyptians, go unto Joseph, what he saith to you do. 56. And the famine was over all the face of the earth, and Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold unto the Egyptians, and the famine waxed sore in the land of Egypt. Waxed sore in the land of Egypt. 57. And all countries came unto Egypt. As I said, it was all over the earth, the famine. Okay? So in all countries came unto Egypt to Joseph for to buy corn, because that the famine was so sore in all the land. So, sometimes when God causes mayhem to come into your life, you think your life is over? No. Always know that there's always an awesome blessing beyond that mayhem. There's always an awesome blessing beyond that curse. So please stop looking at situations in your life as if God is punishing you. Sometimes a promotion comes through a destructive moment. Promotion will always come through a destructive moment. So take those moments with a strong heart, because when the blessing comes, your heart will go from a strong heart to a joyful heart indeed. Thank you very much for joining us here at Spiritual Water. My name is Brenda Guerrero, and as always, may the peace of God be upon you. May the protection of God surround you, and may the will of God for your life come from thee. Okay, not your own will for your life. Let God's will for your life rule in your life. Thank you and enjoy this beautiful day.